In Revenge of the Sith, when we first encounter Grievous, he is a being made out of various cybernetic parts that entail nearly his entire body. However, it is clear he is not all machine, as we can see he still possesses biological eyes and lungs. But it was not always like this. There was a time prior to the Clone Wars where Grievous was made entirely out of flesh and blood. Before his role as general in the Separatist movement, Grievous was a warlord on the planet of Kali. Grievous was renowned among his people, the Kaleesh, as an awe-inspiring warrior. His acclaim was so large, his people even began to worship him as a demigod. Over time, Grievous fell in love with another Kaleesh, who herself was a notable warrior. However, this love would not last, as she was killed by the savage insect creatures known as the Huck. Grief-stricken and enraged, Grievous made it his main mission to destroy the Huck, eventually driving them off of Kali. Grievous then pursued the Huck back to their home world, with intentions of utterly annihilating the species. However, the Huck, now sensing defeat, turned to the Republic, who in turn sent Jedi to drive the Kaleesh back to their home world. This act is where Grievous's hatred for the Republic and Jedi began to grow. Once returning to Kali, Grievous saw that his people were dying, and was forced to take a job as an enforcer for the banking clan, in an effort to save his people. Over his time as an enforcer, the Sith Lord Count Dooku caught wind of the powerful Kaleesh warrior. Seeing an excellent opportunity to create the perfect killing machine, Dooku made arrangements for a bomb to be placed on Grievous's ship. The bomb was designed to critically injure the Kaleesh, but not kill him. The mission was ultimately successful, and Grievous's ship was destroyed, resulting in him receiving massive injuries. Nearly dead, Grievous was located by Count Dooku, who used the dark side of the Force to keep Grievous alive, playing the role of savior. Grievous was then experimented on, with the scientists assigned to him stunned he was still alive, and as intact as he was. Although his injuries were major, they were not as extensive as were portrayed to him, and as the Count had hoped. In order to make Grievous as mechanical as possible, the scientists were forced to inflict major injuries on the Kaleesh to ensure he became exactly what the Count desired. Grievous agreed to the further injury under the sole condition the scientists did not tamper with his mind. Grievous was then infused with the blood of Jedi Master Sifo Dyas in order to keep him alive. The scientists then proceeded to make several unwanted alterations to Grievous's brain, picking and choosing memories to remain intact and permanently erasing others. They also amplified the part of Grievous's brain that controlled rage, causing him to become more bloodthirsty than ever before. Next, Grievous was given a new body designed to be optimal for killing Jedi, making him extremely quick and strong. At first, Grievous proved hard to control, but over time recognized the power of both Dooku and Sidious. He was then gifted the rank of General for the Confederacy, but he was initially supposed to serve as a secret weapon for the Separatists. Because of this, for the first few missions, Grievous was ordered to kill all that opposed him, leaving no witnesses to him ever even being there. Impressed, Dooku decided to train the new general in lightsaber combat. Due to Grievous's partially cybernetic brain, he developed extremely quickly, gaining knowledge and ability over all 7 lightsaber forms. During this time, Grievous also experienced extensive reworking, adding pieces to his armor and tampering with his brain further to reduce hostility with other members of the Confederacy. His brain was also altered to become more obedient, and the scientists added suggestions the Jedi were responsible for his injuries. Dooku again became highly impressed with the droid general's progression, however, a crippling weakness began to form. The scientists struggled to obtain a middle ground between aggression and obedience. Because of this, at times, Grievous became quite wild in the heat of battle, and would in some cases make unwise decisions. However, Dooku opted to keep the general's tenacity. The Sith began boasting the droid general was the best single combat fighter he had ever trained. As Grievous became more involved in the war, his once love and loyalty to his people began to dissipate, being replaced by hatred for the Jedi. Through his intense studies and obsession over lightsaber combat, Grievous became an expert at deciphering various forms in use by Jedi during the Clone Wars. There was no greater joy Grievous experienced than killing Jedi Knights. Grievous also continuously pressed Dooku to teach him more, determined to grow to the extent where no Jedi could stand in his way. In canon, this tenacity was suggested to always be there, as it has been suggested Grievous may have willingly become a cyborg, not been tricked into it. Although prided at first, Dooku would grow weary of the general, almost to the point where his very presence annoyed him. His savagery grew into something Dooku began to look down upon, and he eventually became disgusted with Grievous's love of violence for the sake of violence. This caused Dooku's opinion of the general to be drastically reduced, as he began viewing him as more of an attack dog than anything ever resembling a student he held pride in. So that is how Grievous became a cyborg, as well as the training he experienced under Count Dooku. So how do you feel about Grievous? Do you like him as a character? And if you were in Dooku's position, how do you think you would feel about him? If you have any other lore topics or questions you want answered, do not hesitate to tweet them at me at StupendousWave on Twitter, or leave a comment and I will try my best to answer or make a full video dedicated to your topic. Thanks so much for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.